Okay, so in this we're going to cover what makes Locrian sound like Locrian, and then we're going to go over uses just right away, because you're going to find fairly easy that you're not going to create flowing harmonic sequences with Locrian. It's just so unstable that it's either going to create very tense music, or or there's a Bjork song, and you could look it up on YouTube. Bjork, I think that's her name, Locrian, Bjork Locrian, and it just sounds very haunting. So it's not a very, if you were looking for a pleasant scale, this isn't the one to use. And it's got a flat 2 and a flat 5, different by compared to like natural minor or maybe Phrygian. It's different by one note. Then Phrygian. So that flat 5 is really the definitive aspect of Locrian. The tritone. So the chords, we got a diminished 1, a flat major 2, a flat minor 3, a minor 4, flat major 5, flat major 6, and flat, it should be a minor 7. I apologize right there, it should be minor 7, and I should fix that. And I'll just overlay it in the video editor, so you probably don't know what I'm talking about. So flowing progressions, using any of these chords, it's just simply not going to happen. It's going to always sound unstable when you go to the home plate. Okay, so that diminished chord cannot be resolved to. So it probably creates a lot of confusion for people, but one of the most common things to do is stuff like this. If you're doing heavy metal, it would work. If you're doing a film score, those odd time ostinatos are very common, very tense. So I'm going to use G sharp Locrian for the most part, because I'm a guitar player. It's easier for me to play speedier things on this than it is white keys. So for the most part, Locrian is based around this kind of half diminished sound. You could, literally, actually I'll play it for you. I had it pulled up for this very reason. So it's a little quiet. So this is actually something I had an idea for. It actually, I have the whole sequence worked out, but it's just using Locrian right here. Then now I shift out of Locrian, but it's kind of a playful feel with and it's concentrated almost completely on the half diminished chord. Playing it really slow. Getting really deep into the low muddy notes for effect. So it has a slightly playful feel to it, even though it's unstable. So you might want to think about that as a use. So I'm going to go ahead and shift back to G sharp Locrian. Okay, and it's the 7th mode of A major. So I'm just going to start throwing ideas at you. You could do scale ideas like this. And you could keep repeating that as some kind of really tense scenario. So that's one use. Let's do something unusual here. Use fourths and fifths. Something like that. Maybe change the timing a little bit. See, not very pleasant, so these are ideas to throw you, especially this is going to be very handy for film composers. Maybe, here's an idea. Like using a add 9 arpeggio on the F sharp minor chord, which would be the 7 chord, so. Or add 2, whatever you want to call it. But do it something like this. So it's kind of sloppy, but I'm a guitar player, so I'm just playing that arpeggio over the Locrian root. Now the 7 Locrian root. Still playing that F sharp minor add 9 arpeggio though. So very tense sounding stuff. So that's or add to, whichever one you prefer. I'm not really picky about that kind of stuff. Maybe some kind of rising effect. Okay, so you could orchestrate that, or you can, whatever instrument. Okay, so maybe you could use like a rhythm like this on the tritone, something like that. And so maybe come up with a melody to stick over the top of it. So let me see. So we'll keep that and then accent the 4 chord and so something like that, as simple as that. So and create some kind of rising fluttery effect on the half diminished chord. Now, piano players, forgive me, this is probably going to be sloppy, but I'll attempt to play that up to speed. So so something like that fluttery rising effect. So let's pedal point the Locrian root and not really concentrate on any chord at all. See, I have the add 2 there, and I'm just kind of playing in 4ths and 5ths. Real slow, So it's a very tense effects. So let's go back to B Locrian for a second. Let's do something like this, and then just not concentrate on any chord, just the minor second areas. So if you're like a film composer or something, that could be some guy sneaking around or something, just, and I'm concentrating on those minor second areas of B Locrian and that little kind of run thingy, my personal, here's something like Debussy would do. He would alternate maybe between the 2 Locrian and then whole tone, switching scales on the same root. Whole tone. So very Debussy-ish kind of effect there. So, well, late Debussy anyway. So maybe just could get some kind of muddy inverted pulse like this. I'm just switching in between inversions. Sounds very tense, It's just simply the 1 chord is a pulse. Low end kind of muddy sound. You can use chord sequences, but you're never going to resolve. Okay, so just bear that in mind with Locrian. You're never going to produce a pretty harmonic sequence. So most of the time the uses are what I've shown for effect, ostinatos, effect, haunting kind of sounds. So the most likely uses you're going to get out of this is some kind of ostinato, some kind of effect, some kind of haunting sound, some kind of even scary sound. I mean, it's just going to depend on how you attack it. And so that's my suggestion, is just try to mess with it and try to create effects, try to create ostinatos, and it'll work. This most likely you can use this in stuff like hard rock, heavy metal and stuff, because it's aggressive sounding sometimes. So, and obviously it's been used in one popular song. I can't remember the name of it. I mentioned it before earlier. I just slipped my mind. So soundtrack guys, yeah, they're probably going to use stuff like this a lot. Hard rock guys, maybe sometimes. So most of the time, people who are just simply looking for beautiful progressions, you're probably never going to deal with the scale. So that's why this is a shorter than the rest of the modes, because it's most likely you're not going to use it much, most people anyway.